The July meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. Can we get a roll call?
Vice Chairman Evan Goodwin.
Here.
Commissioner Carletha Frazier. Here. Commissioner Will Gunther.
In attendance.
Commissioner Debbie Wonder.
Here.
Commissioner Joe DePaul.
Here.
Commissioner Jim Hess.
Here.
Commissioner Carrie Schmelter.
Here.
All right. First of all, welcome to 3 new members, Commissioner Hess, DePaul, and Wonder. Thanks for being here. Notice regarding adjournment. The Historic Preservation Commission will not hear new items after 9:30 p.m. unless authorized by a majority vote of the commission members present. Items which have not been heard before 9:30 p.m. may be continued to the next regular meeting or a special meeting date as determined by the commission members. Notice regarding public comments. Every member of the public who is recognized to speak shall address the chairman and in speaking avoid disrespect to commission, staff, or other members of the meeting. State your name and address when speaking for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. We go for an adoption of the agenda. If I could get a motion to adopt the agenda for June's minutes.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Excuse me, tonight's agenda. All right, second to that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposing? Okay. Passed. So adoption of the minutes for last month's meeting. Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes for June's meeting?
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes from June 20.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? Okay, and adoption of minutes. Do we have any, we're going to do election of officers first, actually. So we are missing a chairman.
We are. So, Mr. Vice Chairman, Acting Chair, just real quick, I'll go over the process for nominations because it's easier that way. We just make sure it's clean. You all can have a conversation or a discussion about anyone who would like to be nominated for chair. Currently, we have Evan Goodwin as our vice chair. If for some reason he is nominated as the chair, then we would need to elect the vice chair. Otherwise, he is the vice chair currently. So you can have that conversation. But when you decide that someone wants to be nominated, make sure that they're in agreement that they want to be nominated. You can just say, I nominate Katie Peterson as the chair, and that works just fine. I will not be accepting that nomination for the record. But then there is no second required. If you'd like to second that, you are welcome to. It acts as sort of an endorsement of that nomination, but it's not necessary. If there are anybody else who wants to have a nomination, you can nominate yourself. You can nominate somebody else on the commission to be in that position. It'd be the same process as above. Once there are no more nominations, just to ensure that there's nobody who's missing out, the chair will ask if there are any additional, or the acting chair in this case will ask if there are any additional nominations. If the answer is no, then you state that they are closed, and then you vote on those nominations in order. So if Will is nominated first, Jim is nominated second, and Carletha is nominated third, you will vote on Will first. If he gets a 2/3 vote, then he's been elected, and there's no need to go on with the voting because it is the order of nomination. So that's why I encourage you to have that conversation before you do it so that you can have a order that you'd like to make sure those nominations come through in. Do you have any questions?
Evan, you want to step up?
Yeah, I'll be chair. That's fine.
All right, I'd like to nominate Evan for chair.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Anybody else? So moved. Okay. Then we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
For myself.
Perfect.
Okay. And then now we have an absence in vice chair. Since I'm not chair. Okay.
So you'll need nominations for a vice chair.
So discussion around vice chair. Would anybody like to?
It's not going to be me.
It's not going to be Will.
Well,
He mentioned he might be coming off the board soon, so the commissioners will have to look for somebody else. But does anybody else have a desire for Carletha?
Carletha?
Carrie?
Sure.
Okay.
Carletha.
Okay. Do you want to nominate her?
I nominate Carletha for vice chair.
Any other nominations? Okay, want to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. All right, Carletha, congratulations.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
vice chair. All right. Now that that's out of the way, do we have any public comments? Not on the agenda?
No, we do not.
Okay. have no old business either. So new business, can I read? I need to recuse myself. Do I do it now or afterwards?
You do it now.
You're acting chair.
I was just set up.
You accept it?
However,
On the other side. We'll hand this over to you. I can help you direct through it though.
Why, thank you.
good evening, Madam Acting Chair and Madam Vice Chair and Commissioners. Tonight, the first application that you have before you as a half-new commission at this point is 5824 Guilford Place, which is Lot 14 in the Stock Farm development. The applicant, Pierce Scott Architects, on behalf of the owner Larry Page, requests that the Historic Preservation Commission approve the following application. It is for a new two-story commercial office building of approximately 2,888 square feet and a carriage house of approximately 1,200 square feet to be located at 5824 Guilford Place in the Old Town Bluffton Historic District, which is Lot 14 in the Stock Farm development. It is zoned Neighborhood General. It is currently a vacant lot, so at the top of your screen you can see Highway 46 or May River Road. Then to the left here is Ginkgo Lane. So if you're headed from Town Hall towards Savannah, it'll be the second entrance to Stock Farm that you're turning in there. And it is the corner lot on your left as you turn into the development. And then Guilford Place runs along the rear of this property. The setbacks for the Stock Farm development are established by a development plan rather than the Unified Development Ordinance. So they are in place there. It's a front of 15, a rear of 15, a side of 21, and a side of 17 and a half, if I'm not mistaken. They are meeting those setback requirements on the site plan. I have double checked that for you. The carriage house setbacks are 5 feet on both the rear and side property lines, as that is something that falls to the Unified Development Ordinance's placement standards. The development plan also allows for the addition of a driveway to a site if they want a driveway to the site. This applicant has opted to not add the driveway to the site as they're not using that carriage house structure as a garage structure. It is not necessary to provide additional parking within the Stock Farm development as long as the use is one that is permitted by the zoning district, which in this case it is. They have opted to take the space that would have been used for a driveway, should they want to add one, to add additional on-street parking here. So they've shifted the ADA space over and added an additional 2 spaces so that there's a couple extra spaces there. You can see that happening at the bottom here. The first floor of the primary structure, again, Guilford Place, is at the top of your screen. May River Road is at the bottom of your screen here, so I've got it flipped from the other site plan. I apologize. But the porch, you can see, wraps the front, and then there's an infill portion here, and then the porch is nearly the entire back elevation as well, with the stairwell that runs up to the second floor here. You can see the stairwell. Here's that landing, and that infilled area on the right. So this is, again, May River Road at the bottom, Ginkgo on your right. So this is if you were standing on May River Road looking towards the building. For the roof plan, again, this is May River Road at the bottom, Ginkgo on your right, Guilford at the rear, and then the adjacent commercial property on the left-hand side of your screen. For the carriage house, we have the first floor plan up on the right corner, top right corner here. The second floor is a little bit smaller than that first floor. And then the roof plan, you can see how that sits on top of the first floor with the larger area on the first floor there. So the front and rear elevations, top is the front, which faces May River Road. So you can see the porch, here those columns. And then this steps back. So this horizontal siding is set back from the front. And then on the rear elevation, you're getting approximately the same amount of fenestration. It's not quite the exact same, but it has the appearance of a second front. You can see the stairs that go up to the, the stairs that go up to the landing here. And then the right and left elevation, So this is the side that would face Ginkgo, and this is the side that would face the adjacent commercial property. The carriage house elevation, so you've got the side that faces towards May River Road and the building in front of it. You have the rear, which faces towards Ginkgo and Guilford. Then you have the, it says May River Road on this one. The left elevation, which would face towards,
It's oriented the same way as the building, the main building. So like the front would be the Main River Road, which would be the top one.
not this one.
That's the top one. Yeah, that's the top one.
This is May River Road, I'm so sorry. This is May River Road. This is the right elevation, which would face towards Ginkgo. The rear elevation, which faces towards Guilford, and then the left elevation, which faces towards that adjacent property. There we go. Here are the wall sections. If you'd like to look at those closer, I'm happy to go back to that screen, as well as the window and door finish schedules. The additional details, including the window detail, which shows that shutter, the service yard detail, and the exterior handrails. Some additional, mostly window and door details here. The drainage plan, which includes the site plan. So again, you can see this better where they've included the additional parking at the base here. So this is the property line, and this is where that sidewalk used to be. That sidewalk will need to be pulled up here and come around the base. It shows up that it is coming around the base on the site plan. So that's the relocation here. Here's the landscape plan. And then this is the comments that the ARB provided. The applicant has let me know that they have sent this to they've sent the additional information to the ARB. They meet the first Friday of each month. So the order of operations there, it's a little off where they need it to be before you all tonight. And they've addressed these comments and are hopeful to get the approval there. As I always state, the ARB can be more restrictive than the Town of Bluffton's ordinances, but it cannot be in conflict with it. So if the Town of Bluffton says you have to have a door facing the street, they can say you have to have 2 doors facing the street, but they can't say you can't have a door facing the street, because that's something that is required by our ordinance. So in getting a conditional approval like this, it is, they need to make sure that they are in alignment, because you cannot amend something that is not approved. So that's just something to keep in mind. The conditions that they have, most of them are adding, this is existing landscape to remain, adding a sable palm. So most of it is additive rather than subtractive information that I see on the ARB conditions. So they're additional landscapes instead of taking away. As the HPC, some of you for the first time, the HPC considers 8 review criteria, which are found in section 318.3 of our Unified Development Ordinance when they assess a certificate of appropriateness application. You all are authorized to either approve the application as submitted by the applicant, approve the application with conditions, or deny the application as submitted by the applicant. Madam Chairman, if you would like, I can go through the conditions that staff has found before they meet the requirements, and then we can open up the floor to the applicant and let her speak on behalf of the project tonight if you'd like.
Yes, please.
So the first condition is that a tree removal permit is required because there are trees that are larger than 8 inches in diameter at breast height, which are being proposed for removal. This is a standard condition that is on just about every application that you all see before you. It's primarily administrative. The second is that the approval from the stock farm POA is required prior to approval of a certificate of appropriateness. We did kind of discuss that just now, but basically we need something from the stock farm POA that says they are okay with the design as it sits before we can sign off on ours. The third is because it's commercial property, any signage that is going to be proposed in the future, it requires a site feature approval. Again, administrative, we like to include this condition because the only times that we do not include it, somebody comes through and says what was shown on the building plans. So we make sure that we've included it on here just as a safety net for that. The fourth is that we need a canopy coverage exhibit provided for review, since that was not included on their landscape plan here. It's something that shows that there's at least 75% canopy coverage, not including rooftops, at mature canopy. This is a requirement of section 5.3 of our Unified Development Ordinance. The fifth item is that during the conception conceptual review, the existing landscape, we requested that the existing landscape be shown on the plans to ensure that the adequate plantings have been retained or replanted. We just need a little bit more information. It's showing as existing landscaping here, but it just doesn't indicate what species or the number of plantings that are installed at the front at this time to be moved up or remain in place during construction. So we need a little more information there. The sixth is that the applicant must work with staff to ensure the grading proposed will not result in a complete loss of the streetscape foundation plantings or impact the sidewalk while still maintaining positive drainage. So the survey that is provided is a little bit older, which is acceptable because we do not technically require one that is brand new. However, with the streetscape project that went through there, I think some of the grading has been changed. I was out there with a tape measure and it looks like it's off a little bit. In order to make sure that we maintain that positive drainage, where the location of the drainage that's running through the site right now is running right along the fence line, which is where they're proposing the front columns of the structure. So town staff is recommending that the building be pushed back on the site about 5 feet so that that drainage is less impacted by the placement of the building. And then it would be able to sheet flow with the highest point being approximately where this 23 is on the plan here, or I'm sorry, 25 I can read. And then have it sheet both directions from it. So the high point would be in the center and it would sheet either way instead of trying to reestablish a ditch in front of this, which may undercut the sidewalk a bit because of the placement there. So that is something that staff is willing to work with them on if you all see fit, whether it be that they increase the fill in that area to make sure that it works and leave the placement as is, or move that building back 5 feet and be able to sheet flow either direction. That's something that if you all feel comfortable with it, staff does feel comfortable working with the applicant on that to ensure that it's going to be adequately drained so that we do not run into issues. We do know that the soils in this location are what you call not great. And so typically the lots along this street have required a lot of fill in the past. And so that is something that we've dealt with on several of these lots. So while it is a concern at this moment, based on what we're seeing here, it is something we believe can be addressed fairly easily. Yeah, well, fairly easily, or at least handled at a staff level because it is drainage work and it shouldn't affect the architecture or much of the placement of this building. I did talk with our building official just to ensure that if the building was moved back 5 feet, there would not be an issue with any fire ratings or anything like that because this building could constitute a single building under building code, even though it is 2 buildings, because it all is commercial use. It is under 9,000 square feet, and it is under it's 2 stories or under in height, and it is non-sprinkled. So it could constitute 1 building, which is a little bit funky, but it wouldn't require any additional fire rating between the structures if it is a 5-foot distance between the 2. So there are a few options that they have, and we can work with them to figure out which one works best for their site. And then the last one, I covered that because it was the recommendation to move that primary structure towards the rear of the property line to eliminate the need to relocate the fence, plantings, or modify the drainage at the front of the lot. So the 2, 6, and 7 go fairly hand in hand. Do you have any questions for me?
Does anyone have any questions?
Can we see, is there a elevation that shows the 2 buildings together so we can see if the 5-foot shift, what that does? Should there be a 5-foot shift toward the rear? I know there was 10 feet between the building.
And there's no connector, correct?
There's not.
You're saying, so if the buildings are 5 feet apart, then it's considered 1 building?
They can be considered 1 building under International Building Code and not have to increase their fire rating on the exterior wall facing each other.
I just didn't know if the overhang was, say, 3 feet on each of the buildings.
I have the right rear. Perhaps the applicant can speak to that better, but I believe that it's 2 feet.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and that's fine. I mean, there's still space.
Yes, it's 2 feet, and so you've got the lower roofs that
potentially, but there should have been in the drawings a composite, is there not? In the- Okay. It's the two lower roofs, yes, they'll be close. Because it is a hipped roof, so it's the same.
And 16-inch overhang?
24.
24 inch?
I look at the roof plan.
That's what it said in the details.
24?
And we'll work with staff on all of the site things because we don't have all of that information as far as the May River Road streetscape. So we can work with them on, it's 1/8, so it's close. We can work with them on making sure the whole drainage and site situation is taken care of.
Staff suggesting 5 feet, but it could be 3 feet, it could be 4 feet.
So I guess we can work with them on
Right.
what they think we can do. I know all of those lots are really tricky on May River Road. And they change.
A question on the front elevation.
Sure.
On the second floor, there are 2 windows, I think, on the second floor. I guess there is a shutter there, isn't there?
It's a shutter,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, I was thinking it was a
No,
window.
it's a full shutter.
So, yeah,
To help.
never mind. That's all or addresses my comment.
Any other questions?
Is that the shutter style you're going to use?
Is the intention for the center stile and the double shutters for it to be skinnier than the rest of the stile and rail?
Not necessarily. I don't have the shutter picked out, so I was trying to mimic the windows, but I don't, I know we wanted a panel,
Okay.
but I don't know exactly the thickness of that style until we see what is available.
I personally like the look of the one single shutter on a window like that.
It helps balance it and helps in the space. Yeah.
Any other questions? So I guess we are looking for a motion, yes?
Well, I guess I have some general comments,
Okay.
not necessarily questions for the applicant. I guess I could ask as a question. There's a couple of different column details. The front columns have the second band at the top. Is there a reason that
That's the primary structure, so we wanted to scale it down for the secondary.
and as we go around to the side, then the columns on the primary structure at the back on the stair hall are different there too, it looks like?
That's an outdoor post, or, it's a different, it's not as formal as the colonnade around. So that's secondary to that.
Okay.
massing.
That's the concept there, is that those are separate. even
Yeah,
though they're the same
that's
size.
secondary to the main.
Are those 8-inch like the carriage house then, or are they the same? 10 at the front are?
The main ones are 10 probably.
Here, I've got details somewhere.
And then the carriage house is probably scaled down to 8. Typically, when I work on major, I can't see them, buildings, massing, the primary usually is the grander one of the two.
Sure, I'm just looking at those on the front as kind of being, now you've sort of got 3 different columns. You got the formal ones that are 10-inch at the front, and then kind of the stepped back 10-inch but not formal, and then the carriage house. Be nice to see those at least kind of be the formal and informal and have them sort of.
So which would you like where?
I would suggest either making the 10-inch, like all of the columns on the main building match, probably would be my preference, or going to, columns that match the informal ones at the carriage house in the back.
The difficult challenge on that is this area that I'm circling. That's a post that'll go into the ground, so it's not like on a slab or a used structure. It's just a second floor porch.
Okay, so
It's not a,
set on a foundation.
yeah, it's not set on a foundation.
Okay.
And then the upstairs, I scaled it down because it's the second floor, and it doesn't need to be as decorative, I guess, as the other.
It's operating as a side entry,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes. That is yeah, because that's how you get the second floor. It's the only secondary entry, so.
Okay, I follow. And then that doesn't have a big foundation at below, so
Yeah, no, it doesn't have
more
a
relaxed that way as
right,
well.
Right, it'd
Okay.
just be a post footing.
Okay. And then the roof on that second element, is there, what is the reasoning behind not having the eaves align on the 412 roofs with the main roofs? It seems like it'd be cleaner.
Up here
if they
and
all,
here?
Yeah, they all.
I didn't, because the whole major versus minor. So the major mass part versus the minor mass part, and I didn't want as much emphasis, and that part's pushed back more. It's not on the same plane, and I didn't necessarily. I don't think that you need a continuous eave.
And it matches the porch.
And
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the the exposed rafter tails. I just when those roofs come together and they're just like a little bit different.
they're two different
like there ends up being
pitches,
a
so
lot
you're
of
never going to get
flashing.
them even. It's never going to be the exact same because they're two different slopes.
Sure. Yeah.
So why do you have the exposed rafter tails around the porch, then on that other lower pitch, but not on the main roof?
Because the 412 is the open rafter tail, so, and it's, like you said, it's around the porch. So like upstairs on this part, so that's part of the porch, so it carries the same language as the porch down.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that's a really nice touch. I was just suggesting that the edges of the roof, at the edges of the roof aligned, to call less attention to that joint. Because there's right
If
now
you
they're
raise
kind of
that,
near miss.
and I've looked at raising and lowering that plate, but if you do that, then there becomes a lot of space on that little bitty element.
Just on the head over the windows.
Yeah.
It looks like it is it the same height or lower?
This one is lower. Yeah. Because if I grew it up a little bit higher, there would be a lot of extra space between the head and the eave.
And then you have the open rafter tails above the bump out on the second floor?
Yes. I can close it. I mean, it doesn't.
Or you think it'd be just too busy to have it on the whole thing?
The client preferred to have a closed soffit on the main body.
Yeah, I don't think that the main body requires having
And then for maintenance and I'll keep on that.
the
floor.
economics of the project. Sure.
Yep.
And then the last note I had, the double hungs look really nice on this right side elevation here on the second floor. Then on the carriage house, their casements. Is there a reason for this?
Just proportion and size for the second floor. And then I was just trying to do not as many, keep consistent window types.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had the smaller windows here. So that's why I chose to mimic them here on the carriage house to continue that same language. And since it is a smaller scale, it fit those windows I thought were appropriate for that scale.
I think the individuals are. I just thought the triple seemed like it'd be more consistent if they were a double hung, seeing as that's how it was treated on the front elevation.
These
Yes.
are double hung.
And then as you go to the carriage house,
Oh, you're talking about these?
those switch to casements.
They could be double hung, but they could be double hung if that's what you prefer.
I don't know how I just seems a little bit more consistent for the rest of the architecture.
That's fine. Have a problem with that?
All I had. I don't know if anybody else has any other discussion.
It's going to help you make egress too up there if that is.
Well, we're not intending it to be residential, so we have the one door up there, so it really it's covered.
Okay.
Any other comments?
You're good if you want to use it.
So are we looking for a motion? motion?
All right, I'll motion that we approve plans per staff recommendations, that they meet all the things they were asked for, work with staff on the drainage, give the or the POA letter before they would get the, final approval.
Okay, so my understanding is approve per staff recommendations 1 through 7,
Yeah.
working with staff to be able to complete those. That's the motion I heard.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Do we do discussion or we vote?
If there's any discussion, you can have it now, or if there's no discussion, then you take a vote.
Adding those window suggestion to the list.
I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. It seems like nobody else really felt strongly about that.
Yeah, I agree with you on the consistency of the.
I would like to say, I think it is more consistent, and I think we would make that comment on other projects, even though it's kind of the back side of the building here.
Can we add that to the conditions list?
So if you're going to amend a motion, the first
One
step
second.
would be to
Vote and then
make a motion to amend to add blank. Second, you vote on amending. Make a motion to amend. Second, the motion to amend. Then you vote on amending the motion. Then you vote on the amended motion.
Okay, so would you like to amend the motion?
Yeah, I would make a motion to amend the motion to add that the triple windows on the right side of the carriage house be switched from casements to double hungs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you voted to amend the motion to include an 8th condition, and now you're going to vote on the amended motion. So
So now can we have a vote on the amended motion? All in favor? Second?
it's been seconded, so we just need the vote on the amended motion.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
That motion has passed.
Okay, the motion's passed.
Everybody?
Disagree.
Oh,
No.
Nay?
You can vote now.
Okay, the motion still passes. So we've voted to amend to add the 8th condition, and then we've voted, the majority has passed the motion. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much. Sorry, I've got a lot of things up on the screen. Well done, guys.
Thank you for coming out in the rain.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Back, Evan.
You most definitely can have that.
He did trick you though at first.
He did.
He did.
Okay, the second item of new business that we have before us tonight is a certificate of appropriateness for a renovation and addition to a contributing resource known as the Hayward Cottage. So Ansley Manuel is here on behalf of the owners George and Lillian Hayward to request the approval of a certificate of appropriateness to renovate the Hayward Cottage to include an addition of approximately 230 square feet to the existing 2187 square foot single family, one-story residential structure located at 130 Pritchard Street, which is in the Old Town Bluffton Historic District, and it is zoned riverfront edge. So this means that it has frontage on the May River, so that will always be the front of those lots. I pointed to my back as I said front, but May River's that way. So this right here is Pritchard Street, which you can see through the rain out your window here. So as you go down Pritchard Street, you go into the gravel road portion of it, and this lot is on your right-hand side all the way at the end. So this is the May River, or the Hayward Cove, and then the May River is at the bottom of the screen here, just to orient. I have cut and pasted the plans that you have in your packet together so that I've got them directly next to each other. So the screen may be able to provide a little clarity if you are struggling with the packets that you had before you. So the existing floor plan is the one without highlighting on it, and the demolition floor plan is that on your right. So they're proposing to replace some doors and windows here, remove this portion of the entry porch, this portion of the exterior wall so that they can enclose this porch here. They'll remove this portion, well, they're not removing it because they're enclosing it, so this portion here will be enclosed. And then this is the front elevation down here facing the river, and they're going to be removing this portion here, changing out this window, this door, changing that one to a window, and then this set right here, the window will become a door. So I can show you it again here. We've got the replacement window here for egress, and then this window will remain. They're enclosing the window that was here to create the bedroom addition and changing the other window to a door. So it's in the same place as the previous window, but it is becoming a door. They're adding this wall here. This was an open porch. So this portion will become part of the bedroom. And then this is interior to the space, but they're enclosing this area here and then adding a porch of the same size to the front beyond that. They're fixing the fireplace here. They're just restabilizing that. And then on the bottom here, they're opening up this wall and adding a door where there was a window and a door where a window where there was a door here, and then a door where there is a window here to make that. So you'll see it better. This is the proposed roof plan. So you can see this is the kitchen that was enclosed, and then the porch beyond, so it's about half the length of here. And then this is that new bedroom addition here. The rest of the roof remains unchanged. On the front elevation, this is what it will look like from the front, but if you look inside the screen, you have the window that becomes a door, and then the door that becomes the window here. So that's all inside the screen porch facing the river. On the left elevation, you'll have the entry porch that was here. This will be covering up that entry porch. It'll be just closer to the west side there. So it encloses that. That's a new addition. But the rest will remain unchanged. On the rear the rear elevation, you will have the bedroom addition, which will sit right here, as you can see it down here. So here's that porch that changed where you can't see it any longer from the other side. And there will be an addition here. This porch becomes enclosed and a new porch added to the front. So currently there's a wall that it's open to the air here, and that will remain basically unchanged, but they'll fill in this portion here and add a porch to the front of that. And then on the right elevation, you can see that enclosed porch. So this is where that porch was, and this is what the porch will look like, and then they'll add the new porch in front of that. And again, this is the rear of the structure, and the front of the structure is to the left-hand side of your screen. So the front of the structure is remaining mostly unchanged with the exception of that one window and door. This is the window and door schedule, so they'll be reusing and relocating doors that were being used to what is becoming the exterior. So where they took out that door on the front elevation and changed it to on the rear elevation and changed it to a door for the new bedroom addition, they'll be taking that window and moving it forward to the next wall. So they're still using those windows, and if they are replacing them, they will be using the all wood Marvin historic line, which will match the windows which are on the structure. Here are the details. So you've got the bedroom section for the walls, the proposed brick stairs that will be pulling forward, and the shutter. This house, again, is a contributing resource that already has shutters on most of the windows. These are the new, what they would need to put on the new portions of the building. This is the bedroom wall section again. That's the porch. Yep, I'm sorry, that's the porch. I was reading it, but I'm looking at it. This is the porch. So this is where they've infilled that kitchen. So you can see this is the roof line that is existing, and then the proposal is to tie it into here, and it'll flatten by just a little bit. I got an email from Ansley earlier. I have not put it in the slideshow because it was not part of the original submittal, but as we discussed the application, I will pull that PDF up for you guys. This is the existing canopy coverage for the site. So as you can see, it has 75% canopy coverage. I believe that it has close to 98% canopy coverage based on the existing tree canopy in there. And then this is the proposed landscape plan. We do just require the foundation plantings, so they're maintaining what was there essentially for the landscaping along the area, which will be modified. They're removing a couple small bushes here, but they are maintaining the required foundation plantings. This is a certificate of appropriateness. So the HPC has the authority to approve the application as submitted by the applicant, approve the application with conditions, or deny the application as submitted by the applicant as they take into consideration the 8 review criteria, which are set forth in section 318.3 of our Unified Development Ordinance. I say that line over and over again for those of you who are new, so you will hear it a lot. The town staff has reviewed this application and has found that with the one condition here, that the roof line be reconsidered between the existing kitchen roof and the enclosed porch and porch addition to create a better relationship between the new and existing roof lines. And that is this area right here where it ties into the existing roof, but the pitch changes just a little bit. So it creates a bit of a complicated roof line right here. And that is the only condition that town staff has based on the application submittal materials. I am happy to answer any questions that you have. Ansley, the owners, and I believe the contractors here for the, unless he's here in a public comment capacity, to discuss the application should you have any questions.
I have a question.
Ma'am.
Okay, there are not shutters on every single window. You're not requiring them to put them on because they're not on now?
Correct. So it's the new windows that are being added that need to take the shutters that they're proposing.
And they're matching existing shutters that are on the house? That's why you're using that style?
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to open it up to the applicant to speak on behalf of the project if they feel so inclined.
Wasn't there a
you can do that as
PDF
well.
you wanted to read?
Yes, I can open that up for you too. So this is the email I received this morning that has or Monday, that has the an alternate roof line here where it drops just below the roof line, and then from the side elevation, it would fall just beneath that roof line. It would slope to a flatter roof. Right now it's proposed at a 3 and 12, or 3 and 12, and then the main roof line is at a 3.5 and 12. And so it would drop a little bit flatter, but it would fall below this and not intercept with the existing roof line. So it'd fall more in line with the porch that was currently there.
Is it metal roof?
I can open it up to
Does
the
the
applicant.
applicant have any comments?
Can you come up for a minute? Do you want me to try
Currently, the house is all shingled. So if I put a metal roof on that one section over the enclosed existing kitchen porch it would be the only part of the roof that had a different material.
But will they warranty just a shingle on a lower than the 312?
Probably not.
Could you not lower, well, the doors there?
It's very squatty as is.
Yeah.
Personally, that roof line tying in didn't really bother me at all. I thought that was a clean way to do it. Slight pitch break, but it's shingle, so it's pretty smooth. My thought on the roof was actually on the other side where bedroom 3 is being added. I was, wondering why that roof doesn't take shape more like the hip roof over the kitchen or the hip roof over the existing bedroom on the right side. This seemed like they would be.
You mean the pitch?
Yeah, with it's kind of like this right side here, we're looking at one window and then the lower slope pitch roof that hips around.
And the shed goes higher than the,
And then provides a bigger break between that and the lower one.
But I think if she drops it, the shed roof that's existing over the porch is going to go too high. It'll be higher than the peak.
Well, let's see, we might have to go back to the elevation, the north elevation.
See how high that
the
shed roof
existing
goes?
shed.
This one here.
She drops the pitch, it'll go.
Yes. You do want me
So this is an existing shed roof,
Yes.
and then this is the new portion of it to tie into this hip. But if I was to make it a lower pitch, the ridge would probably end up here, and then the shed wouldn't be able to die into it anymore.
Well, yeah, I guess with the suggestion, you would raise the
Raise
bearing
the plate height
as
to
well.
match the right side. Yeah.
Just looking at precedent on the structure of how they handled that condition previously. And I apologize for pivoting to a different comment, but
So your suggestion is to bring the plate height up.
To match what's on the west side elevation and then match the pitch as well. The only issue there is it looks like the roof
It would ride up on that main
is
roof.
right up on
I
that
think
eave.
yeah, you would set it to ride up just underneath that eave like it does at the kitchen. When you drive up the street, that kitchen's kind of a unique little element in the front there. And then you would also see that addition as a second kind of nod to that in the background from the street.
Does anybody else have an opinion on that? What?
I can see it both ways. I mean, I can see how the applicant has designed it that way, and I can see it being adjusted as suggested. The porch roof over the kitchen, it doesn't really bother me if it's, as it's shown in this elevation, where it's just a pitch break versus lowering it to a 2 and 12. I think that's going to cause more problems with warranty and water intrusion if we're sticking with an asphalt shingle roof versus there's no metal anywhere else on it. So,
It personally doesn't bother me either. I mean, I think with it being asphalt and variations, you're not going to really notice it all that much either.
it's going to kind of disappear, the pitch change.
Does anybody have strong opinions about, or
It doesn't bother me either.
no? Okay. For staff recommendations. Is the comment that Joe brought up something that we want to include in the motion?
That doesn't bother me either because it matches that roof pitch matches the main roof pitch. So that doesn't bother me either.
I think it makes it a little less prominent if I raise it. I just feel like there's kind of this theme of a lowerness going across horizontally, and if I raise it, I'm now bringing a lot more attention to a new addition on this house. So if the board would consider me keeping it as it is, I would appreciate that.
I think if we have a majority of us who have a strong opinion on it,
I mean, the existing bedroom from that other side elevation is dying in just below that main eave, which is what's happening on this new bedroom 3. And yeah, if bedroom 3's roof was raised, you're going to want to, your eye carries over to the main, what's existing, the porch roof, and be like, well, why wasn't that raised? And then it's this trickle effect. But you're dealing with existing conditions.
yeah.
So,
It is an addition, so it is.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the argument was that there's the main roof as one roof type here, and then there's the high proportioned, secondary hipped roofs that are kind of the bedroom addition and the old kitchen addition, and then the third type of roof is that low slope shed. And so having the addition be like the other taller hip roof additions seemed consistent. And all the porches are low, and it's just a Bluffton porch is a low porch.
Mm-hmm.
the unique thing about the house is kind of the proportions of the kitchen and that bedroom are just a little bit different, a little funky.
But I think I agree with Ansley. If you start raising this up, that's going to draw your eye right to that always and not to the whole house itself. It's not going to look more like an addition. It's going to look like a big mass there as opposed to just an addition like these just add on. Oh, sorry. Add on, add on, add on. You look at all these old homes, they're just piece, 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 add another piece, add another piece.
Alika, your opinion?
It doesn't really bother me.
Okay. Debbie?
I think it's fine. I think it's sympathetic to everything else that's going on, and it doesn't draw attention.
Okay. Any other discussion? I'm looking for a motion then. It sounds like if you are going to make a motion, it's probably going to...
I'd like to make a motion that the application be submitted or be approved as submitted. Point blank, flat, just the way it is.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposing? Okay, the motion is, or the application is approved as submitted.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, that concludes our new business. Is there any further discussion?
Welcome to all of our new members. We've got 3 of them. You guys did a really great job tonight discussing the items on the agenda and amending motions and everything else. A lot of complicated things, but you did great tonight. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yep.
All
I'll
right,
second it.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Adjourned.